I am a top student. I had a puppy love with the crown prince of the N City Circle. The prince's mother found me and gave me $3 million. With this money, the prince rushed in and shouted, "Mom!" The lady gave him a white look, patted my shoulder, and said his grades were too poor, asking me to take this money as tutoring fees, just begging me not to dump this brat.
Welcome to listen to my full Sweet Love series novel. I'm the blogger and I'm Twilight's novel. Now let's start the main story.
My puppy love with the crown prince of the N City Circle was discovered. Logically speaking, standing next to Alexei, no one would suspect we were a couple. We are like two completely opposite people. Except when the grade rankings are announced, I can get a bit of attention. Most of the time I am unknown. In contrast, although Alexei's temper and grades are a bit poor, he has a rich father. Almost all schools in this city have teaching buildings donated by his family. To get his son into the top high school in the city, Alexei's family paid for the construction of the cafeteria, library, and replaced the school's multimedia equipment. It is said that on the third day of this young master's enrollment, he complained that the school was too hot. So he skipped class to play games at an internet cafe. Alexei's family directly replaced all the air conditioners in the school, spending a weekend to install air conditioners even in the toilets, making Alexei's name resound throughout the school. Yet, it is such a person who actually had a puppy love with me, and it was discovered by all the school leaders and teachers. Because Alexei was once again arranged to read a self-criticism on Monday for fighting, a pink envelope fell out of his pocket. The originally careless person instantly changed his expression, and the principal quickly picked up the love letter. "This is for my girlfriend. How could you read it first?" Alexei was anxious and directly shouted in front of everyone, the microphone accurately transmitting his voice into the ears of everyone present. The principal opened the love letter, his expression indescribable. "Dear Elena baby. Good for you Alexei, puppy love, right?" I stood below, instantly breaking into a cold sweat. The homeroom teacher was called to speak in front of the principal, and after returning, called me to the office. "Elena, are you dating Alexei?" I dared not speak at all, until Alexei rushed into the office. "Are we not worthy?" Both the homeroom teacher and I were stunned, especially the homeroom teacher, a middle-aged man in his 50s, almost ready to take action. "You two, one determines the upper limit of the grade ranking, the other determines the lower limit. You tell me, are you worthy?" The homeroom teacher was so angry he saw stars, finally insisting that it was Alexei who was pestering me, and helplessly invited his mother to the school. At noon, I watched a luxurious car parked under the teaching building, from which walked out a delicate, beautiful and powerful lady. Even the principal spoke to her with a bow, saying he wanted to resolve this matter privately, so he took me out of school to a nearby milk tea shop for a talk. After sitting down, she took off her sunglasses and looked me up and down. "You are my son's girlfriend?" The other party's aura was too strong, I nodded, not daring to speak. The lady finally withdrew her gaze and took out a check from her bag. "Do you know how to use a check? Auntie will teach you. Take your bank card, go to the bank to cash it. You take this money." Before she could finish, Alexei had already rushed into the milk tea shop. "Mom, what are you doing?" "We are truly in love." The lady raised an eyebrow at him, directly stuffing the check into my hand. "Tutor him well, his grades are too poor." Both Alexei and I were stunned in place. Before we could react, the lady had already started scolding Alexei. "Your father graduated from MIT, and I graduated from Cambridge. You barely passed the high school entrance exam, and now you're at the bottom of every monthly exam in high school. Did I eat too much brain tonic when I was pregnant with you, to give birth to such a brain-dead child?" I stood stiffly watching Alexei, who was scolded and dared not raise his head. Even though I know the family grave can't always emit green smoke, but it shouldn't explode in your generation. Since childhood, I've found you so many famous teachers. Do you think this $3 million is a breakup fee? It's mental compensation for the girl. Being with such a boyfriend, I suspect she's too smart, likes a challenge. Although I was being praised, I didn't feel the slightest bit of joy. After scolding Alexei, the lady held my hand and sighed. "You look like a future pillar of the country's precise poverty alleviation, you precise teaching support. In the future, if you lack anything, tell Auntie, as long as you don't break up, pull up Alexei's grades, everything is negotiable." The lady repeatedly instructed. It felt like she could talk until the end of time. Now I finally know. Alexei's infuriating mouth is inherited from whom? Finally, the lady left because of an urgent phone call. Before leaving, she told me to keep the check safe. Remember to cash it. I got $3 million inexplicably because of puppy love. I wouldn't dare to dream of such a thing. Holding $3 million in my hand is like holding a hot potato. Since the check is given to you, just take it. Whether you can cash it, I'll accompany you when the time comes. My mind was blank throughout. Back at school, the teacher said to change seats with Alexei. Because of the homeroom teacher's assistance plan, Alexei became my desk mate. This incident caused dissatisfaction among various subject teachers, fearing I would be led astray by him. Now the homeroom teacher regretted it, immediately demanding we change seats. Angered, Alexei immediately went to argue with the teacher. I don't know what the two said in the office, but when they came out, Alexei was beaming, and the homeroom teacher didn't mention changing seats again. But this operation made the classmates sense something was wrong. The classmate sitting behind me, while Alexei went to fetch water, carefully poked me. Are you really dating Alexei? Since it couldn't be hidden, I simply nodded. Immediately, there was a sound of inhaling cold air behind me. Was the fight between Alexei and that yellow-haired guy from class 12 because of you? Before I could speak, there was a commotion at the door. A boy wearing a baseball cap stood at the door, full of impatience, grabbing a passing classmate. Call out the one named Elena from your class. This person was the one who fought with Alexei over the weekend, noticeable for his yellow hair, often involved in fights, considered a problem student in the school. Also, because I accidentally stepped on his foot last week, he threatened to use my hair to clean his shoes. Instantly, all eyes were on me. The yellow-haired guy seemed impatient, shouting towards the classroom. Elena, come out. I have something to say to you. I walked out of the classroom. The yellow-haired guy met my gaze. A trace of disdain flashed in his eyes, but he still bent down. Sorry, I apologize to you. Hope you won't hold a grudge. His forced manner seemed as if someone was holding a knife to his neck. I was puzzled, turned my head and saw Alexei standing not far away, holding 2 cups, coldly watching the yellow-haired guy. Why are you wearing a hat? Is your head cold? Hearing Alexei's words, I then noticed that the back of the yellow-haired guy's head seemed to have a bulge. I was really curious about the yellow-haired guy's hair, but Alexei wouldn't tell the truth. But these couldn't stump me. After school in the evening, Alexei was picked up by his family. I directly went to the small store at the entrance. Auntie, was there a fight in the alley last week? The alley near the school is a must for every fight, not far from the school, but the teacher's car can't come in, and both ends are open. The lookout at the entrance can immediately inform if a teacher is seen, allowing everyone to leave from the other end. But what everyone didn't know was that last month, the owner of the small store at the school entrance installed a surveillance camera, facing the alley. That place often has fights. Were you bullied? I worked at this small store during the summer vacation, and after tutoring the owner's daughter who was about to take the high school entrance exam in math, the owner treated me like her own daughter, so when I asked to check the surveillance, she immediately agreed. Alexei was caught fighting on Sunday afternoon. The surveillance could be checked immediately. Sure enough, it was the yellow-haired guy. In the surveillance, Alexei was holding a cigarette, leaning at the entrance of the alley. Soon the yellow-haired guy arrived with a few underlings on electric bikes. Alexei, why did you contact me? Didn't you always look down on us small-time thugs? Alexei extinguished the cigarette in his hand, slowly walked up to the yellow-haired guy. The yellow-haired guy still had a defiant smile on his face, but the next second was punched by Alexei. The scene instantly became chaotic. Although Alexei once told me he learned martial arts since childhood, watching him fight 1 against 3 still made me anxious. Until 2 underlings were beaten and fled, Alexei retracted his fist, grabbed the yellow-haired guy's neck and lifted him up. Alexei, I didn't provoke you. What did I do wrong? Do you know Elena is my girlfriend? The yellow-haired guy was obviously stunned, quickly shaking his head. Sorry, I didn't know. I really didn't know. Alexei dragged the guy to the corner, then noticed a black backpack in the corner. Just stepped on your foot. You threatened to use her hair to clean your shoes? Should I let you step back? No, this matter is over. I was just joking at the time. Just joking? Alexei sneered, took something out of the bag. I kept zooming in on the camera, finally found out it was a barber's clipper. Unfortunately, I'm not joking with you. Then amidst the shrill screams, a large piece of hair was shaved off the back of the yellow-haired guy's head. "Elena is timid. I'm worried she'll be anxious because of you. If she can't study then, it won't be as simple as shaving your hair. Find a time to apologize yourself. Chase your hair." Alexei threw many bills in front of the yellow-haired guy from his pocket, as mental compensation. After apologizing, "Don't show up in front of Elena again." Then it was the teacher who happened to pass by and noticed the commotion inside. Alexei took the blame, was punished to read a self-criticism under the national flag on Monday. Then our puppy love was discovered. Now my mood can't be described as complicated. "Elena!" Suddenly someone called me. I quickly turned off the surveillance, found it was Madeline from the next class. "So late not going home. What are you doing?" "Nothing, the owner lost something. I'm helping her check the surveillance." "On the way back, Madeline. Because our homes are close. Many times we go back together." "Elena, are you really dating Alexei? How did you get together?" It's a question I've been asked countless times today. Probably because the impact of us being together is too big. It was during the final exam last semester. After the final exam last semester, summer vacation was about to start. Everyone was immersed in joy. After school we gathered to play Truth or Dare. There were also classmates from the next class. Madeline drew the dare in the game. Just as Alexei passed by, someone next to us encouraged him to confess. "You just say it's a joke. Alexei shouldn't get angry." The classmate from the next class just suggested. We immediately stopped him. After all, as Alexei's classmates, we know best how bad his temper is. Giving a white eye is considered light. Being scolded severely is not impossible. We all asked the questioner to change the target, but Madeline calmly took out a card. "I have a skill card here. Can designate someone to go for me." Finally, I became the unlucky one. Madeline was still cheering me on. "You and Alexei are classmates after all." But for 2 years, we haven't even spoken a few words. Finally helpless, I could only brace myself and step forward. "Classmate. That. Alexei. Something, can I date you?" I said this sentence at the fastest speed of my life. Behind me erupted sharp cheers. Finally, before Alexei could blacken his face, I immediately bowed 90 degrees to apologize, then ran away. Fortunately, this person didn't care, took something from the drawer and left the classroom. Originally thought this was the deepest intersection between me and Alexei. During the summer vacation, I was busy with summer jobs, wanting to make it easier for my mom, found a part-time job at the supermarket at the school entrance. Unexpectedly, Alexei often passed by. One day even directly walked into the supermarket. "You work here." This was the first time he actively spoke to me. I quickly nodded. He didn't speak again, bought a pen and was about to pay. But the online cash register at the supermarket suddenly malfunctioned. "How about using cash?" "I didn't bring any. Who carries cash around these days?" "Then I'll pay for you." "It's okay, just go." Alexei stood still. "You're from my class, right?" Took out his phone again. "Then let's exchange contacts. I'll transfer the money to you." "No need, it's just $2. Last time I joked with someone, fortunately he didn't hold a grudge. Just as I was about to speak, I was interrupted. "Hurry up, I never owe anyone money." I then took out my phone to scan the code. But at that time I didn't understand why Alexei's ears were all red, probably because of the hot weather. Afterwards, he transferred $2 to me. Our chats became more and more. Only then did I know he often appeared near the school during the vacation, because his parents found him a tutor nearby, but it didn't seem to have much effect. Alexei even often sent me questions, asking me to help solve them. The summer vacation of the second year of high school was short. Soon it was the start of school. The homeroom teacher started assistance plan. By chance Alexei and I became desk mates. One day during class, he suddenly handed me a note. "I like you, can we date?" I pretended not to see. He handed me another one. "It's not a dare, I really like you." I don't know why I agreed to puppy love at such a critical moment, maybe because of confidence in my grades and self-control, or maybe because I found out Alexei isn't as scary as the rumors say. Of course it could also be because he has a handsome face, which confused my mind. Anyway, we just happened to be together like that. Holding Madeline's hand, I smiled helplessly. "So that's how it was because of me." Madeline whispered something, but I didn't hear it clearly. Just as I was about to ask, we had already reached the fork in the road where we part ways. This matter could only be left unsettled. The study schedule of the third year of high school is always busy, having to get up before dawn every day, and only returning home after dark. Now I have one more task: tutoring Alexei. This matter is harder than I imagined. According to him, he hasn't worked hard since the third year of junior high. Just after writing 2 questions, Alexei directly threw the pen. Damn it! I want to call the police to arrest these question setters. What are they writing these for? Will I use functions to buy groceries? I picked up the pen for him, intending to use a real-life example. You bought a 12-inch pizza. The merchant said there are number 12-inch ones left. Can 2 6-inch ones be used instead? Would you agree? Of course not. Would you? Wouldn't you? I didn't expect him to be smarter than I thought. Of course not. My 3 meals a day are taken care of by a nutritionist. My family has 12 chefs alone. They can cook food from all over the world. If I want pizza, they can bake it for me. No need to order takeout. I'm going to fight you rich people. Reasoning didn't work. I could only force him to study. Not long after studying, Alexei's thoughts started wandering. Elena, I'll take you to Hainan during the winter vacation. It's not cold there. My dad just bought a villa there. No, I have no money. I might have to set up a stall during the winter vacation, just in time for the new year when the kids have money. Didn't my mom give you $3 million? And going out with me doesn't require you to spend money. My gaze fell on Alexei's test paper. 4 out of 5 multiple-choice questions were wrong. The 2 little figures drawn next to each other were quite vivid. With your current study progress, I might have to return the $3 million to your mom and ask her to find another tutor. Just you wait. Alexei angrily picked up the pen and started writing the test paper, as if to prove it to me. He started studying hard. Every day going to and from school, he carried a book to read. The driver who picked him up was shocked. Even the teachers gave him a thumbs up. Finally, in the monthly exam half a month later, Alexei proved himself. His score increased by more than 100 points. This is your test paper. During the break, everyone went to eat. Alexei brought 2 lunch boxes, sat in the classroom and ate with me. Yeah, impressive, right? I've been studying hard for the past half month. My dark circles have deepened. How are you going to reward me? I put away the test paper, coldly met his gaze. You can copy in the monthly exam. How are you going to copy in the college entrance exam? It's okay if you don't know now. I won't blame you. I didn't copy. Seeing him not admit it, I directly took out the math test paper, turned to the second last question. With your current level, you shouldn't be able to solve this kind of question. This solving method is different from what the teacher taught. But I saw Madeline do it. And you were in the same exam room this time. Under my questioning, Alexei finally lowered his head. Sorry, I really tried hard. I just didn't want to disappoint you. This was the first time I saw him so sad and upset. The Alexei in my impression was always unruly, as if he carried a dazzling light. But now he was sitting dejectedly in his seat. I didn't want to disappoint you. That day the teacher called me to the office and talked for a long time, saying you're so smart. If I don't work hard, you will definitely. I just thought of what to say and swallowed it back. Could only comfort him in a low voice. Studying definitely can't show results immediately. You have to take it step by step. I read in those novels. The protagonists all didn't work hard when they were young. Then in the third year of high school they suddenly rose up. You also said it's a novel. If everyone could suddenly rise up, then those of us who worked hard since childhood would cry to death. I replanned Alexei's study method. Let him start with the subjects he's good at. Find a sense of achievement. You go abroad every year. Your English must be good. Spoken language and written language are different. When I shop in England, I don't say, "Respected supermarket worker, please give me a plastic water bottle containing hydrogen hydroxide." Besides, I'm still Chinese. Do you think my Chinese is good? I was speechless. What he said made sense. I couldn't refute it at all. Studying can't be achieved overnight. Can only be done step by step. I started to replan Alexei's study schedule. While thinking, I waited for Madeline at the school entrance. But after waiting for a long time, Madeline didn't come. Could it be that she had already gone home first? Just as I was about to leave, I suddenly heard crying from the alley. What do you want to do? Weren't you very arrogant? Specifically giving Alexei the answers. Why not give us a copy? Thought top students were all aloof. Alexei asks you for the answers. You eagerly give them. We ask you and you make excuses. Even directly report to the teacher that we harassed you, right? Another scream came from the alley. Clearly Madeline's voice. I immediately rushed into the dark alley, only to see Madeline being held by the hair by several girls. Her face also swollen. The girl next to her was still cursing. Getting answers from you is so troublesome. If you don't give them to anyone, that's fine. But when others ask, you give them. Do you look down on us? Watching Madeline being slapped, I immediately stepped forward. I've already called the teacher. If you continue, you'll all be caught. Hearing that I called the teacher, the others' expressions changed. Immediately let go of Madeline and ran away. Madeline sat on the ground sobbing softly. I just stepped forward and was pushed away by her. I don't want your hypocritical. Madeline pushed me away and left the alley. Her actions left me confused, even going home absent-minded. When I got home, it was already 12 o'clock. Opening the door, I found the house brightly lit. Now the third year of high school is really hard. Coming home so late, I found two strangers sitting on the sofa. My mom brought out the midnight snack she prepared for me. From the kitchen, Elena is back. Your Aunt Zhang and Braden are here. Only then did I see the face of the boy sitting on the sofa. A handsome face. The person in my memory gradually overlapped. Braden, the neighbor brother who used to live next door. Although he's only 2 months older than me, he occupied the status of an older brother, which made me depressed when I was young. The third year of high school is hard. Our Braden also comes home late every night. Now he's moving campuses. I thought of moving to a closer place. There's still 1 year left. We parents can't slack off. Braden and I are in the same grade, but not in the same high school. From their conversation I learned Braden is moving campuses. Moving to the campus next to our school. So his family also moved. After we parted ways in junior high, we became neighbors again. From now on, we can go to school together. Braden smiled at me. While I was still thinking about Madeline, I casually responded and went back to my room. Unexpectedly the next morning, Braden was really waiting for me downstairs. The sky was still dark. He stood under the streetlight. His figure stretched long. We used to go to school together often. But back then the sky was still bright. Although we haven't seen each other for a long time, chatting about childhood things, we could still talk non-stop. We chatted all the way to the school entrance. Just as I turned to enter the school, I saw Madeline at the entrance. She met my gaze. The gloom on her face disappeared. Quickly walked towards me. Elena, about yesterday. I'm sorry, I was scared at the time. That's why I was rude to you. I wasn't angry in the first place. Just worried about her. I'll go to the teacher with you. No need, they probably won't bother me a second time. We walked towards the teaching building together. While going up the stairs, I turned to talk to her. Suddenly noticed the bruise on her neck. Was this also done by them? No. Madeline quickly covered it with her clothes. Finally, under my questioning, she spoke. It's my mom. She saw my exam score dropped by more than 50 points. So she got angry. Just thinking about the bruise I saw earlier, I felt a chill. Knowing I fell out of the top 100 in the grade made her very angry. She scolded me for a long time. I didn't want to either. Madeline held back tears and forced a smile. Those people always harass me. Usually bully me when they're unhappy. I never thought the top high school would be like this. Although the top high school has a high undergraduate rate. It's a famous good school. But there are also many people like Alexei who got in through connections. When I first entered high school, I was also bullied because of my good grades, and unwilling to help them cheat in exams. But I directly cried my heart out in front of the teacher, and had my mom come to the school to make a scene. The homeroom teacher helped solve a lot under pressure. Ask the teacher for help. Tell your parents. It's no use, my mom would only say it takes two to tango. She only cares about my studies, nothing else. Then cry in front of the teacher until you faint. The teacher will definitely be scared. Then help you solve it. These are all methods my mom taught me. Madeline just smiled helplessly after hearing this. It's no use, I don't have your courage. I really can't do it. After saying this, she turned and walked into the classroom, leaving me with a lonely back. I was concerned about Madeline's matter, thinking about it during several breaks. Alexei sat next to me. Dissatisfied, poked me. I finished. Only then did I lower my head to check his test paper. After my comprehensive tutoring, Alexei finally improved a little. But only a little. It's okay, little by little. I believe one day, you will definitely be able to solve all these questions. But it's already the third year of high school. Can I learn it all before the college entrance exam? Really can't. Now I suddenly regret not studying more before. Now I can't go to the same school as you. Why do you want to go to the same school as me? My goal is to rush to Harvard. But if Alexei can get into Harvard by cramming this year, the teacher said it would be a bit of a blow to me. Then what? The graduation season is the breakup season. You're not planning to break up with me after graduation, are you? Alexei instantly panicked, anxiously jumped up. Actually, when we first started dating, I thought he would say break up within a day or two. No need to last until graduation. Didn't expect this person to think so far ahead. I casually comforted him, then arranged another test paper for him. The whole day was spent in heavy studying, until the evening self-study suddenly lost power. The school suddenly fell into darkness. The whole school erupted in cheers. The teacher quickly calmed everyone's emotions. I clenched my hand under the desk, because I have night blindness. So I don't like dark environments. Prefer to go home with others at night. Now suddenly plunged into darkness. My fear started to amplify. Until someone held my hand. The warm body temperature transmitted through the hand. A voice also sounded in my ear. Elena, it's me. Alexei's voice was low and hoarse, but carried a strong sense of security. He suddenly approached. His breath sprayed on my neck. The voice kept spinning in my mind. Elena, I don't want to be separated from you. Not even after graduation. Soon the lights came back on. The broadcast explained it was a power outage. Alexei had already sat up straight before the lights came on, and restored the distance with me. I felt my face was as if burned by fire. Just as I was about to glare at him, I found Alexei had already turned to look out the window. Just like me, his ears were also flushed red. I did. Didn't I respond to it? Didn't you tell me? There's a neighbor's brother who moved to the campus next to ours, and sometimes walks to school with you. It seemed Alexei wasn't angry. I breathed a sigh of relief. I thought you'd be jealous. After all, when male classmates come to ask me questions, Alexei almost pops his eyes out. I just patted my chest, when the person next to me suddenly leaned over. Actually, a little bit. Since you walked to school together, you can't walk with me anymore. But seeing so many photos, from different days and angles, I'm actually more worried about you. My dad used to tell me about many business tactics. Photos can't represent the truth. There are methods like misalignment, AI editing. I'm more worried that you're being targeted by someone, intentionally framed. More importantly, I believe in you. I believe that the Elena I love is an upright person, who wouldn't do something like two-timing. If you didn't like me, you would tell me directly. You wouldn't hurt me. As long as we're not broken up, I will never doubt our relationship. I felt a warmth in my heart. Alexei, who seemed hot-tempered, was actually mature and gentle. Of course, if you don't like someone as handsome as me, and like someone like that, then you must have no taste. Great. The moment of tenderness was instantly gone. I directly pinched Alexei's face. He grimaced in pain. There's one more thing. Don't you want to know who's behind harming you? Then do you know? I gave the school's social wall $50, and they told me who the submitter was. I let go of his face. Alexei rubbed his cheek, then looked at me seriously, and uttered a name. Madeline. I had thought of many people, but never expected it to be her. I instinctively shook my head. How could it be? We had such a good relationship. Was it really good? How long has it been since you last spoke? I instantly fell silent. The money wasn't wasted. They directly gave me the submitter's account. I asked people from her class. It was indeed Madeline's alt account. And her house is close to yours. She knows your daily schedule well. But I told her about Braden. She knows our relationship. But others don't, do they? Alexei held my hand, comforting me in a low voice. My dad always told me, don't take friends around you too seriously. Sometimes you think your relationship is good, but it's just your one-sided belief. Tonight was destined to be a sleepless night. I couldn't fall asleep for a long time, unable to understand why Madeline would do such a thing. The next day at school, I wanted to confront her, but heard that Madeline had taken a leave and didn't come. For a whole week, Madeline didn't show up. The third year of high school was always busy with classes. Soon I put this matter behind me. By the time I remembered it again, Madeline had returned. But during the noon break, she went straight to the school rooftop. When I heard someone say there was a person jumping off the roof, I was pulled to go see the commotion, only to find that the person standing on the edge of the roof was Madeline. It was almost summer. She was wearing a thin school uniform, as if a gust of wind could blow her down. Don't joke around. What's wrong with you? Come down quickly. The person speaking was Madeline's mother. Next to her were the school leaders and the homeroom teacher. Everyone was trying to persuade Madeline to come down. Only Madeline was still inching outward. Only if I jump from here. Will you not think I'm joking? Madeline's mother turned pale, still complaining. You child, I just hit you a couple of times. Did I say anything wrong? Your grades have dropped so much. It's because of puppy love. You refused to admit it, so I hit you. And you actually ran away from home. As soon as she spoke, everyone present was shocked. Madeline's homeroom teacher quickly pulled her mother aside. Stop talking. Actually, Madeline has been working very hard. Fluctuations in grades are normal. Besides, she's not in puppy love. She is. I'm her mother, I can't be wrong. She is in puppy love. I saw in her diary many names. All of the same person. Someone named Alexei. I stood frozen in place, staring in shock at everything happening before me. Upon hearing Alexei's name, Madeline suddenly shouted, "Why don't you look for reasons within yourself? You only know how to scold me every day, either slapping me or hitting me with a stick. Do you know how scared I am to come home? Why can't you ever praise me?" Madeline's mother was left speechless by the scolding, subconsciously retorting, "What is there to praise about you? Your grades are so poor. I divorced your father for you, brought you to the big city. I did it all for you. How can you be so selfish?" The principal next to her wished he could cover Madeline's mother's mouth. Madeline was in tears, as if she had lost all strength and fell backward. The students watching screamed. I was so scared I closed my eyes. Fortunately, at the critical moment, a firefighter climbed up from the fourth-floor window and caught Madeline in time. When I opened my eyes again, Madeline had been rescued and was urgently sent to the hospital. That day, the whole school held a class meeting, telling us not to speak of it, and arranged stress relief courses for our third-year classes, allowing us to watch a movie. But the news came that Madeline had been diagnosed with severe depression in the hospital, needing medication, and her studies were temporarily halted. With less than 2 months left until the college entrance exam, after hearing that her mother had fainted in the hospital, I never saw Madeline again. In the final stretch, no one dared to let their guard down. I used all my energy to study. Before, on weekends with half a day off, Alexei would still discuss going on dates. But now he didn't dare to bring it up. On the day of the college entrance exam, my mom surprisingly bought a new dress, a bright-colored cheongsam, saying it symbolized a victorious start, and also bought a sunflower. Someone who usually didn't believe in superstitions started praying early in the morning, muttering words under her breath. The 2 days of the college entrance exam passed quickly. When I walked out of the examination hall, I still felt a sense of unreality. It was over just like that. My high school life seemed to have abruptly ended. The summer vacation was especially long. Before the results came out, I had already received a call from Harvard. Even the admissions officer was waiting downstairs at my house. So I had no choice but to temporarily stay at my grandma's house. Until Alexei's dad called me, asking to meet. Alexei's results were out. Compared to a year ago, it was like night and day. But it was just barely enough to pass the undergraduate line. Uncle knows it's all thanks to you. If it weren't for you, he wouldn't have achieved these results. I heard you're this year's provincial top scorer. Amazing. Uncle congratulates you first. He had a gentle smile on his face, but it always gave me a slight sense of dread. But Uncle also has his own considerations. You and Alexei may have to separate for a while. His grades aren't good enough to get into a top university domestically. Actually, the family had already prepared an overseas route for him. Before you two started dating, he had always agreed. But now it seems he's changed his mind. We had finally reached this day. Recently both Alexei and I had avoided talking about this. But it wasn't something we could escape by avoiding. Or if you're willing, Uncle can arrange for you two to go abroad together. As long as you're willing. With that, the man handed me a check. Sorry, Uncle. I can't do it. I've never considered going abroad. Because my mom's health isn't good. After my dad passed away early, she almost worked herself to the bone for me. I just want to stay by her side. Uncle really likes you, and is very optimistic about your relationship. But parents always have to plan ahead a bit more. Actually, 2 days ago, I had already heard similar words from Alexei's mother over the phone. Alexei didn't want to study abroad, even went on a hunger strike at home in protest, insisting on staying in the country. After saying goodbye to his father, I called Alexei. Before he arrived, I had already ordered milk tea and some snacks. After thinking for a while, I also ordered fried rice. Alexei walked in. Seeing the table full of food, he instantly started drooling. So generous today? The school gave me a scholarship, so I'm treating you to something good. Then I won't be polite. Alexei immediately started eating heartily, probably having starved for several days. Someone who usually ate quite elegantly, now was almost wolfing down the food. When he was almost done eating, I finally spoke. Alexei, is your family very wealthy? Not too bad. For $1,000 plane ticket, how many can you buy in a year? That's nothing. I can buy as many as I want without a second thought. As soon as he finished speaking, Alexei realized something was wrong, and immediately put down his chopsticks. They came to talk to you, didn't they? I nodded, forcing a smile. Go study abroad. I'll wait for you here in the country. If you miss me, you can come visit. The plane ticket shouldn't be a problem for you, right? My university waived my tuition. I can save up and fly to see you too. Alexei panicked, sitting down next to me. No, I won't go. Do you know how far it is? I don't want to leave you. I don't want to go. What if? There's no what if. Didn't you say it yourself? That until we break up, you'll always firmly believe in our relationship? Don't you believe it anymore? Alexei was silent for a long time before taking my hand. I understand. That day, we sat in the shop for a long time. Alexei started preparing for going abroad, though there wasn't much to prepare, since his family had already arranged everything. But he needed to mentally prepare for the separation. We traveled together, taking many photos, checked the time difference between the two countries in advance, set a time for regular calls, agreed to keep each other updated, and even considered buying a long-distance kissing device. But I immediately vetoed the idea when I saw the silicone lips. What initially felt like a long summer vacation seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. I entered university, while Alexei boarded a plane to go abroad. University life was rich and varied, but I didn't join any clubs, nor did I enter the student union, apart from necessary studies and part-time work. Most of the time, I preferred messaging and calling Alexei. People around me teased me for being love-struck, and some even advised me, that long-distance relationships are always unstable. He might have one girlfriend in the country and another abroad. But I still believed in Alexei, just as he had believed in me back then. In my second year of university, I saw Madeline again, and at first glance, neither of us recognized each other. She was working part-time at a cafe. She had taken a leave of absence from school and was repeating a year. My dad found out about my situation and took me away from my mom. Though it's still tough, it's much better than before. She had a faint smile on her face, and after a while, she spoke. I'm sorry, it was my fault back then. I was the one who posted on the school's social wall. At that time I also liked Alexei, but I didn't dare to say it. After I found out you two were together, I was heartbroken for a long time. I kept thinking, if only I had been braver and taken the risk. Elena, are you dating Alexei? Actually, Elena, I always thought we were similar in terms of family background and grades. But later I found myself falling further behind you. I started to panic. And in the end, I even became a bad person. That's all in the past now. I don't want to dwell on it anymore. I heard she had gotten into a decent university, and I felt relieved, buying a small cake to congratulate her. Before leaving, Madeline suddenly called out to me. Elena, will we still be good friends in the future? I was silent for a long time, searching my heart before turning back. Sorry. What happened has happened. I can't force myself to let it go. But I genuinely hope you can live well. That's the truth. At the very least, we once shared a friendship walking home together in the cold night. Madeline also smiled. That's enough, thank you. In my third year of university, I gained a bit of fame online with an article I wrote, and earned a decent amount of money. After thinking for 10 minutes, I bought a plane ticket to the US, and followed the address Alexei had given me to his apartment. Standing at the apartment door, I called him. A fairy has descended. Let's play a game. I can guess who you're thinking of right now, and make them appear before you. I'm thinking of you. Can you appear? But I just bought a plane ticket. I'll be back next Tuesday. Then you'll have to cancel that ticket. Alexei on the other end of the phone was still confused when I knocked on the apartment door. What do you mean? Wait a second, baby. I'm opening the door. It might be a delivery I ordered. I bought something for you. It's being shipped. The voice on the phone suddenly stopped. The door opened. Alexei's hand holding the phone was still in midair. After a moment of silence, both the voice in my ear and on the phone let out a scream. The fairy really appeared. Before I could say anything, Alexei had already tightly embraced me. The person in my arms was still the same passionate and bright youth from my memories. He hadn't changed at all. Just like our relationship, even though we were miles apart, it remained inseparable.